Well, I just saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just hours ago, and you're probably wondering about my initial impressions. So, drumroll please. It was pretty damn good. I liked it a lot. It's one of the better Turtles films, giving us pretty much everything we'd expect to see. Of course, this is just one guy's opinion. I'm just going to give my initial thoughts. Again, it's only been a few short hours since I walked out of the theater, but I will say that ultimately, it was satisfying, and it left me wanting more. I'm not going to comment on what you already know from the trailers. Chances are you've made up your mind whether you're going to see this or not. From the trailers, you know what the Turtles look like. All I can say about that is, why was this okay, and this okay, and this, but this is where we draw the line. My point is, they're called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're giant turtles that fight. That's what they gave us. I was a little skeptical about their look too, but the more I saw of them on screen, the more I accepted it. The turtles are actually the best part of the movie, as they should be. They're the title characters. The characters are all here. The cool and collected Leonardo, Donatello with his technical abilities, the hot-headed Raphael, and of course, the highlight of this movie, Michelangelo. If you're a Mikey fan, you definitely need to check this one out. I know a lot of people doubted Megan Fox in her role of April O'Neil. I have to be honest about this one. I wasn't sure what to think since I really don't know much about her past work. From the few interviews I saw her in, she came off as either cocky or really confident about it. Of course, I just figured that was her refusing to break character. Some people complain that Judith Hoag, the actress who played April in the 1990 film, wasn't attractive enough. But if you look at where the character got her start, she wasn't exactly this hot supermodel. She wasn't even a news reporter, to tell you the truth. She was Baxter Stockman's assistant. Anyway, the April in that movie was a TV news reporter, but she was like the girl next door, just your everyday pretty face. In that movie, they showed a very human side to the character. So now we get Megan Fox, who's super attractive, and again, everyone complained. Seeing her wear that yellow trench coat is already the closest we've seen her resemble the character from the original cartoon series. She does a fair enough job, she's very eccentric, and she seems surprised by everything. As she should be. Think about it. If this were all happening in real life, how many people would just accept the fact that they're talking to four giant turtles and their master rat? So Megan Fox wasn't bad. She's passable. The thing is, the character of April in this film is once again a reporter, and her sole reason for existing is that she wants to cover this big story revolving around the Foot Clan. The whole reason why she goes looking for the turtles is because she wants her big scoop. In that regard, the movie never lets us really see her in any other light than an obsessed news reporter. In some ways, that's actually how the character was portrayed in the cartoon. She was always trying to get her scoop. But the whole idea of April O'Neil was that she got caught up with these guys by mistake, and it forever changed her life as she accepted the turtles as her family. She gets to that point by the end of the film, but until that point, she's just an eccentric news reporter, and it got somewhat distracting. Speaking about distracting, everyone in this movie hits on her. It becomes obvious about 10 minutes in that Megan Fox is supposed to be this film's sex appeal. It's cute at first when her cameraman innocently hits on her, but then you've got Michelangelo flirting with her every chance he gets. It's actually a little uncomfortable. Also, during one of the key action scenes, there's a shot of April leaning out of the passenger door as her cameraman, Vern Fenwick, stares at her ass. Within seconds, the distraction causes him to crash into a snowbank. Megan Fox is attractive, but the movie kept portraying her as a piece of meat, and given that this film was primarily aimed toward kids, I could have done without all that. The supporting cast I honestly could care less about. Whoopi Goldberg plays April's boss, Bernadette Thompson. She only has a couple of quick scenes, and her main reason for even being in the film is to tell April she's crazy. Yeah, I forgot to mention that part. As soon as April encounters the turtles, what does she do? She tells the entire news department that she's got a story she wants to air without any proof. No pictures, no audio clips, nothing. She does take photos of the turtles just chilling out on a rooftop, but the turtles erase her phone, so yeah, she has no proof at this point. They could have gotten anyone to play April's boss. It's always good to see an established actor do something unexpected, but this was a throwaway role. Of course, you have the Shredder, but the movie almost never focuses on him. If you've seen the trailers, you know exactly what to expect. We get this very brief backstory tying him to the Foot Clan, and then he just kind of shows up in this hyper-robotic armor, and honestly, it was a bit much. You can't help feeling that the turtles are completely outmatched by this guy. Going back to the 1990 film, when the Shredder actually looked like, well, the Shredder, he was still a match for the turtles. But in this movie, they just put him on steroids, and they just don't stand a chance. I'm not sure why they made the decision to bulk him up the way they did, and sadly, he's probably the least interesting character in the film. That was a disappointment, given that he has two pretty impressive fight scenes. The same goes for William Fichtner as Eric Sachs. Nothing to say here, he's your typical superhero movie bad guy. He's this movie's Baxter Stockman, and with that being the case, they should have just called him Baxter Stockman. If I say anything else, I'll be moving into spoiler territory, but he's just a cardboard cutout and forgettable. Splinter was okay. I liked how they tried to make him look more like how he was in the comics. Again, they don't do much with him. He has an awesome fight with Shredder, and then you really don't see him that much. He has a funny scene as he scolds the turtles in the beginning of the movie, and there are some emotional moments with the character, but honestly, if they took him out of the film, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. Then you have the Foot Clan, led by Shredder's second-in-command, Karai. If you've only seen the 80s cartoon and the 3 live-action films, you probably wouldn't know who Karai is. She showed up in the later comics, basically replacing Shredder as the head of the Foot Clan. I knew who she was as soon as I saw her. She's essentially this film's Tatsu. Again, she doesn't do anything interesting. The Foot in this movie are just a bunch of militia-type soldiers. They wear black and they carry some heavy firepower. I don't know, I liked them better when they were just ninjas. At least then it made sense that they were an even match for the turtles. But here, how are automatic weapons an even match for ninja swords? Then again, we find out that the turtles are basically bulletproof, so it works out, I guess. The most interesting supporting character, surprisingly, was April's cameraman Vern, played by Will Arnett. I couldn't help thinking he reminded me of Michael Keaton. He's got that same kind of smooth, laid-back personality that somehow ends up being charming. There's almost a hidden edge to the character that we never find out about. I don't know how to describe it, but he did the character justice. The one character we're not supposed to care about ended up being one of the more likable characters in the end. Go figure. Honestly, though, he would have made for a good Casey Jones. They should have had Casey in this movie, not April's camera guy. The plot was alright, but nothing special. I'm not spoiling anything by saying the Foot Clan has taken over New York and the Turtles have to stop them. We've seen that a dozen times. For the sake of being different, they did change the Turtles' origin stories. I won't go into detail on that, but this movie more or less adapts the recent reboot that took place in the comics. It makes the story a little more convenient because everyone from the Shredder to April seems to have a hand at the Turtles mutating, but it wasn't too much of a stretch from the original backstory, so I accepted it. In terms of the villain's motivation, it borrows from the climax of Tim Burton's Batman. That's all I'm going to say. The action scenes are easily the best part about this movie. They will kick your ass from New York to Tokyo. This really seems like the Michael Bay version of a Ninja Turtles movie. If that stops you from going to see it, I'll say this. It isn't just a ton of explosions riding on top of each other. The action scenes actually have some weight. Now, to be fair, there isn't anything here that we haven't seen before. Fights on top of skyscrapers, gunfights, but I never thought I'd see any of this in a Turtles movie. The Turtles work well off of one another. Of course, you've probably heard by now that the creme de la creme of the whole movie is the scene down the snowy hill. Yes, that was pretty awesome. The film also puts the Turtles in very real danger. I can't go into detail without spoiling the movie, but it gets pretty dark. Then Mikey cracks one of his jokes and we're yucking it up once again. The bottom line is, I wasn't expecting this to take me back to my childhood. As much of a fan as I am, I know that there have been many, many incarnations of the Turtles, and this is yet just another retelling of a familiar story. I went in hoping to get a fresh take on it, and that's what I got. I know I'm not doing it justice by talking about the weak villains and its cliched plot, but the parts that count, namely the 4 turtles and all the lavish action scenes, were really outstanding, making up for the few dull moments. There's nothing really bad that I can point to. The villains and the plot aren't exactly memorable, but nothing was out of place or done completely wrong. It felt like a Ninja Turtles movie, and for what it's worth, I enjoyed it. And no matter what kind of reviews it's getting, the audience I was with laughed their asses off and had a good time. By the time the credits rolled, people were clapping. The audience I sat in with enjoyed themselves. I would love to see another one done in this style, but next time bring in some other mutants for the Turtles to fight. We have yet to see live-action versions of Bebop, Rocksteady, the Rat King, or Krang, or a slew of other characters for that matter. With a universe that is so rich with content, they have endless possibilities. This one was pretty good, but there were tons of missed opportunities, and it just begs the question. Now that we've seen what an updated live-action Turtles movie can be, it'll be interesting to see where else they take these characters. Regardless, I'll be waiting in line whenever it happens.